the pains. They'll happen every day. The Sonic World pains. I'm gonna be doing it as long as I'm doing it. Oh well. Hello guys. Oh, and Yoni Beltran. Yesterday I did teach you guys already about enemy placement. So, alright guys, how's the volume? How's everything? I'll lower the music a little bit. I don't think we should be waiting too long over here. I think we should get straight into level designing and get this done as soon as possible. If we're gonna get this done today. Still doing level design. Okay, so today my goal is to keep teaching you guys about level design, and then during the level design itself, teach you guys about how to make a gimmick, how to make like a little thing, just like stage gimmicks, and maybe even a new enemy depending on what we got. So we'll see. So yeah. Alright, let's get right into it. So, here's where we left off yesterday. You can see most of the stage. So the stage starts, it has two routes, right? And there's a little challenge over here, a little platforming over here, and a little platforming over here. And then it goes, and well, there's a lack of challenge in this area because we already have a challenge over here and a challenge over here. So during the lower route, we probably need to add something over here, some kind of challenge, and we also need to fix the issue of this platform. So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to complete those three paths, not fully finish them, but fully set them up, and then after this is done, I'm going to be thinking of what we can add later on in the stage. Do we need a new enemy? Do we need a gimmick? Do we need a new form of slope? What do we need exactly? Well, we're going to figure out as we go. And just to say, or in my case, in a lot of cases, I usually plan out my gimmicks and enemies and slope design of a stage before I make the actual stage. In this case, I'm doing things a little bit differently, but the order of events don't really matter that much. It matters a little bit, but as long as you actually pull it off and manage to do something good, all the results are what matters. You know, at the end of the day. So we had a little problem with this platform yesterday. I need to move it a little bit up. Over here should be fine. One problem though is that this is a problem I have occasionally, is that some people might go over here, then they might think they might have to go over here, and then they fall. So one thing you might want to do is add a couple of rings to make sure the player notices this platform. You have to make sure that they don't notice. If they don't notice it, they're just gonna run past it, and they're gonna go back and say, "Oh my God, I'm so stupid," even though that was your fault because you knew that was gonna happen and you didn't fix it. It's your fault, you bitch. So right over here, there's a little section over there. We can go ahead and put a ring monitor over there if we want to. The Sonic Team level designers don't really have to learn anything from me, reading from the chat. They know how to make good level design if they're directed right. They have good staff, they just don't have good direction. It's the guy in charge that is the problem. That's what I think in Sonic Team. It's his fault, and I believe he would be okay with us blaming him, because that's kind of how things go. So now I need to find a way of making a little challenge over here. In this case, I need to place this up because remember yesterday, no, I think it was the day before yesterday, there's a little problem with this platform where you would run and then boom, go straight to it because of a physics issue. So I can just put this here. Maybe this thing right over here. This thing right there. Now we're gonna add a little enemy here, so we have a little bump developer design. A little thing. Because the player's gonna go over here and then it's probably gonna hit the wall and then go slow. So this is a good spot to add a new enemy. Or in this case it's the police spot, which is seen plenty of times. So now let's just add this thing right over here. Should do about that. Just leave that there. Now we need a police spot. Set a little police spot over there. And we can maybe add another one over here since this is the lower route. Things could get a little bit harder, and since after you kill this guy, you're gonna see the next one and you could kill it. Yeah, this is not so green zone, by the way. Sticking with the not so simple theme. Right over here we can do this as well, just to make it a little bit more fluffy and interesting. Can you make an original game based on this tutorial? Yeah. This teaches you how to make basic things on worlds, but I wouldn't recommend making an original game on Click Fusion, just because it's gonna actually have more downsides than good things once you actually go into like Steam or something like that. It is possible though, and it has been accomplished at the very least 3 times, those being Freedom Planet, Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures, and Spark. So it is doable, it's just hard. So let's continue on. Now that we have like all 3 paths like really close to each other, we should, you know, do something about it. Now that was a speed section over here, so now we can just afford to up the difficulty in terms of just, you know, just level difficulty. One thing that I'm gonna do is that I want to use those slopes just to, you know, make the level design a little bit more hilly in a way, to just add a little bit more to it, so it's not, you know, just an incredibly flat surface. And maybe we should go over spike placements, that thing I haven't gone over before. Spikes can be used and they're very useful, but I think they appear in like most Sonic zones really, but just like speed pads, it's not something you're obligated to use. You can use them as much as you want, but you have to keep in mind the player has to see them coming. So you gotta be careful with that. So I don't think you have any way to place them here. So we should place them somewhere like around. I guess there's a hidden spring over here. Thank God I've actually found it. So I'm gonna put a slope over here for no reason. It's gonna be kind of fun. The player's gonna think they're gonna go up the slope, the bam, they get launched by a spring. It should be kind of funny. It should crack up some people. It cracks me up. So, and they place those. Sorry, dude, I'm not gonna talk in Portuguese, dude. I know a lot of people like, but people in the church just want me to talk in Portuguese because they're Brazilian as well. But this is just gonna completely alienate everyone else over here. Sorry, dude. Just learn English. You're gonna be better off for it. Just learn the language, man. I have to do this like every stream. It's quite embarrassing. Trees, shut the fuck up. Alright, so we're gonna go here really fast. So maybe, like before, we should have a little hidden area over here. Maybe just some rings we do. Yes, indeed, I am BR, so is that enough? Want me to start speaking your language and then wear a Brazilian flag over my shoulder and then use like a webcam or something like that? You want me to do that? Jesus fucking Christ. You know what? I'm gonna like learn Spanish, grab like an Argentinian flag, and then just wear that one. Just to confuse the shit out of people. And by the way, if people don't know, like technically, if you go by like Brazilian soccer, Argentina is supposed to be Brazil's rival for some reason. So, yeah. Argentina is the only country where any kind of xenophobia towards is like reasonably accepted over here. For some reason. So let's do this. Do a little bit of spike placement. Now that we got this upper route over here and the middle route, we can do some spike placement. And by the way, spike, we can actually add a couple of gaps like this one, where the player can fall and fall into the lower route. This is interesting because it allows us to vary up the level design a little bit, in the sense of the player like will kind of like shuffle between routes as they go. This varies up the playthrough of a level a little bit. So like 2 playthroughs aren't really the same, you know. That's the point of that. Because in a lot of cases you may make a level that has like several routes. Here are the spikes. But the problem is that, well, it's gonna have several routes, but the player is only gonna like go to the bottom one because reaching the top and the lower one is just, the route is just like super hard. So let's keep that in mind. And by the way, as you can see, I added a little bit of a thing over here, so the player has to jump. But the players might notice a spike over here, which means that they're gonna have to do something about it. So since this is the first time introducing a spike, might as well not do that and instead just do something like this. Check it's lined up. It is lined up. So the player is going to instinctively jump over, and when they do that, if they don't hesitate, which they usually don't in the Sonic game, they just go through, they will not get hurt. You know, that's the instinct in Sonic games, to just push forward and just keep going. So keep that in mind. You have to keep in mind what do you think the players will do during the level design. Trees, you're not Brazilian. I know you're using Google Translate. You spoke using accents. No one online does that. I can tell. Man, I don't know nothing about Game Maker, but even in Unity, I don't think the level editor is as good as Click Fusion. I'm gonna have to say that. Because in Click Fusion, you have to do a couple of setups. You know, at least in Unity, they give you like several options and tools in order to make your own sort of system and just make your own kind of level design. In fact, you can technically just program your own room editor if you feel like it. And I've seen some people try doing that even in Click Fusion. But yeah. And for Game Maker, you might want to code your own level maker. Could be a good idea. Alright, so let's go ahead and place some spikes over this route, but I need to have more of a bigger dent so the player has to stop. Like this. Put it on a wall over there, put it over here, put this thing to front, and this thing to back. And there we go, it looks okay, reasonably. So now what we do is that we place this thing, this. Now I can place a couple of spikes. Over here though, that's a problem because when the player goes over here, if he just comes across this region, he's gonna touch the spikes. So a better idea is to just place them lower, right? Well, except it's gonna it's inactive, so it can't really move back. So we're gonna have to put this thing on a upper layer. So over here, the player might have the Sonic Worlds issue of just like having an angle over here. So this is gonna suck as well. So maybe the best thing to do is just move this downwards. You gotta be very mindful of spike placement because spikes can be an issue. They can, like, they can fuck up your level design. Like the player can just be running really fast with a shit ton of rings and then bam, spikes. It's not very fun, so we gotta keep that in mind. Any hazard in a Sonic game that you can just destroy by jumping is a massive issue, especially those that attack you very fast. You gotta place them right. So over here, what exactly do I want to do? Have this little dent over here, so obviously I want the player to stay in the middle to get the maximum jumping height to go somewhere. But where? Let me try this. At the same time, we can go and grab a platform like this thing. We can clone it. Let's go over here and do this. Oh, you don't have to delete this whole thing. And by the way, if you're really using an image with alpha channel and you delete a section of it, you notice that it's a color, so it's not transparent. So you need to do this, click on alpha channel and edit, not on the other one, just this one, and then you delete this area, and it should work. So basically now I have a platform. Even though it has this region in the bottom, it shouldn't be an issue if you enable find detection. And yeah. And then we can go over here and like this. So have platform over there, where you want the player to reach the top of this thing or use the hill itself to just reach the top. And one thing that we can do as well is move this out of here. Is add a little spring over here, so the player, if he keeps running straight, he is gonna get bounced back and he's not gonna know why. But then maybe later, after he's going up again, he's gonna notice this and he's gonna jump during the slope itself, which is gonna make him jump a lot higher, and then he can reach higher platforms. You gotta keep slope jumping in mind. It's a very like unique thing about the Sonic games themselves that doesn't get that much use, I would say, in games nowadays. I don't think most people that make fan games really notice that thing, so. There we go. Right, now that the player has gone up, maybe I need a little bit more room for the player. And I probably need to find a way to shuffle the routes a little bit. I'm gonna call this route shuffling. It just made it up. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of route shuffling? No, it's gonna be the same thing. Not very nice. Not very nice looking pattern. Maybe I can vary it up by doing this. Putting the same object over and over again in the same place doesn't exactly look very good. So this could mitigate the issue a little bit. Maybe add like a thing in here. No, it's okay. Route shuffling. It's the new hottest thing in the Sonic fan game making scene. Now I might be able to add a police spot somewhere like over here. as we go with the level design. So now I could just move the spikes and delete them. Not gonna need them for now. Let's move this thing a little bit above because our classic Sonic X can actually jump pretty high. So I might as well do something like this. And over here, we can do a little secret by adding those two platforms. Another one of those things right over here. And maybe a couple of rings right over here. So the player, to get those rings, they might not be able to get them through a straight double jump, but they might be able to if they jump from over here. So that adds a little bit to it. And since there's a wall over here, there's a low chance that they'll actually fall back to the other route. One little devious thing you might do that I like to do very often is do this. Place rings right down there, so you kind of force the player to route shuffle, or just continue on the upper route in the possibility that the upper route's going to be better and there's going to be more rewards afterwards. So yeah. It's bait. It's literally bait. I'm thinking of using this. Oh well. Literally the only memorable track in Sonic Forces to me is this one. Except for fifth bump. Or fist bump. Let's vary things up. I'm not sure what exactly I'm gonna do at the top over here, so I'm just gonna place this thing and hope for the best. Maybe something will come up. Alright, so what should we do now? Probably grab this, place it over here, do a little bit more of a challenge over here with some platforming, some light platforming probably, not anything too special. Then after that we should do another speed section, this time something a little bit more lengthy, and after that's done we can go straight into programming some kind of new gimmick for the stage, because just this thing might get a little bit boring. In fact, I think I'm gonna be doing one hazard and one gimmick, and that's mostly it. The hazard is gonna be a projectile launcher of sorts. So yeah, so 3 police spots. They're gonna start way before, so I might as well put them a little bit later. There's kind of a straight over here. This may be a little bit odd. So we can do this. Play some rings. Just here, just so the player knows that they actually have to jump through this area. And one thing that we can do is just place the rings in the middle of it, so they know for sure that they can go through it. Let me save. Well, you can recreate Sonic Rush physics. Just literally watch the game, play it yourself, and try to match the physics by hand. Basically, it's just like when you like listen to a song and then recreate the MIDI via ear. Same thing. Just recreate the physics via gameplay. Or via visuals, I guess, and a feeling. I already have a set of music, sorry. I'm gonna put on request. So put another police spot over here, maybe. Police spots might actually be able to fall through platforms. I'm not sure if I actually programmed collision into them when it comes to platforms. Yeah, spinball options music throughout the whole entire string, that'll be fun. Seems pretty straight, so I'm gonna just vary things up a little bit. Papaya! Right, so it's probably time to start doing another speed section. Probably soon enough. Let me complete this challenge section in most routes. Instead of using this, use this. Oh, reaching the top of the stage, holy shit. We have to go down, like, immediately. Alright, so I have this thing over here. What are we gonna do with it? Let me see. Do you have the small block? I think we have the small block. Yeah, we do. Just not use this thing. It looks okay. Right, so from over here, I'm actually kind of confused what I'm gonna do next. We had jump, and there's a little play spot over there that spawns in. Maybe we should do it one more, something like that. So that's the challenge of the section itself. Over here, as you can see, the platform goes like this. There might be a chance the player's gonna jump over here, and then Sonic rolls his way over here. So maybe let's cover it up. It's a good idea too sometimes. Just make sure it doesn't look too odd. So over here, I can put another thing over there. Delete that. Those two. Varying up the tiling a little bit. And we can also put spike right over here. Since the player is unlikely to touch this spike over here, we can put a spike over here and over there. So they're kind of like parallel. If they're parallel, I think the player is a lot less likely to touch them, and they're more likely to know that it's there, considering the whole thing is kind of a mirror of sorts. Not entirely. So, is this Metallic Madness passed? No, it's just the zone. Right, so over here, got the platform. Player's gonna have to jump to keep himself on the top half. So, now when you're gonna do the speed section, I'm gonna teach you a very special thing. It's not very special actually, but basically the upper path doesn't have to be the best path, and by that I mean that we can have a speed section that will shuffle the player around, and if you take the upper path, you actually go through a special route that is under all of them. So here's the plan. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna follow it. Using this nipping tool, we can do something about it. So essentially, what I want to do, somehow make this path lead to a down path. This path just do a thing, and then just keep on going and go down, because it needs to go down. So this one's gonna have to be much down there. And the middle one, I kind of just wanted to shuffle around with this one and leave into two different paths. This one still being the middle route, probably way down there, you know. But this one being the bottom path, but the upper path actually becomes the like underground path, but it's still like a good path. And you can probably find a secret around those two routes that will allow you to get to it. And you know, because there must be a way to get over there, so let's do it. Right now that this is over here, one thing that I can do is I could cheap out, but one thing that I could do is this. Just putting this thing way down there. Put this over here. Just make sure that the player falls and then lands on the slope and goes fast. Or just do this. Depends on what we're gonna do. I think that's gonna work. So let's keep it like that. And over here, we can add a little seat right over there just in case. So yeah. Okay, so put some rings over there. Do you wanna pull a chemical plant? We're gonna do that without pulling a chemical plant. At least it's the plan. Put some rings over here since this is the upper path, and there's technically needs to be more rewards over here. So technically, not entirely necessary, but still. I'm not even sure if the classic Sonic games follow this rule. I haven't even checked. I just know it's kind of like an okay-ish idea. And by the way, we need to do ring placement. We haven't even done that. So let me just put a couple of rings at the start. Just so we have something. Alright. We need to do better ring placement later. Don't forget, like, when you're going to a section where there's an enemy, it's a good idea to just put rings in it before you start, like over here, in a place where the player is going to be. So he grabs the rings before he actually gets to go in contact with the enemy, or else he's just going to die. So, for example, over here, we just add some rings. And then add some rings over here. The gaps, just to make it kind of coolish. Kind of forgot to tell you guys that in the last part. Whoops. What an amazing teacher I am. So putting rings on loops too is a good idea. You don't really have to per se, but it's good. So we're just gonna do it. Right, and over here too as well. There's several things you always need to keep track of when making level design. So, yeah. Wait, let me. Surprisingly hot today. Let me just make my air conditioner a little bit stronger. Let's save and keep on going. So over here I need to add a little bit of level detail. As you can see, I don't do things in order. That's just the way I do things. I just do it as I see fit, and yeah, pretty much. I forget to order to back every time. Right. So from over here, I should do the speed section over there, but how do we get the player to fall over here? Well, there's an easy way. Remember the bait? We can do that. Essentially have a shit ton of rings so the player will want to fall. And I want the player to stay on this side, so several rings in here. It's always good to have a little collectible in a game for this reason specifically. Because it's just good to have like a thing to tell the player where to go without having to put arrows in it. You just put rings. It's a lot more natural. This is so much like Mario Maker level designing. Maybe? What else? Ooh. Hope I haven't got a cold. So... yeah. Right, so over here, I think we should start the speed section in this part of the stage. How exactly, I'm not really sure. One thing that we can do is use those two things. Somehow. Right, so let me grab the slope assets. Let's see if we can do anything about it. Well, since Sonic runs faster in this one, I might as well make it a loop. So we can just copy one of the loops I made. Put it over there. Oh yeah, there was a problem with this one last time. Basically, we need to move it down by one. And that's it, really. Oh, but there's a problem. That's not a big deal. Right. I think this should be good enough. Right, so over here last time we couldn't actually get up here, which was a little bit of an issue. We could do this by using the platform I just created. Putting one over there or over here. Cool. Have one over here just because. Or not. Could just put it over here. Oh yeah, now the player can actually, if he goes fast enough, it doesn't have to touch the spring. He could just go fast and then land on those platforms and then just move on. We can also add another debate. When you get some rings, are you low on rings? You can just drop down. Rings. We was rings. Right. Alright. So this thing needs to be on layer 8 like always. Oops. So yeah. Now we need to place in this thing, the fill, as I always called it. It's an 8, so that's about thing. In this case, Sonic can just go up the loop, and once he exits the loop, he will probably be at a reasonably fast speed. So we're gonna have something there. So now, I run this. And we can fuck it up a little bit by adding this one. And trying and see if we can actually do this and pull this off. And kind of shuffle the routes a little bit. May or may not be possible. This is kind of a wreck. Could work though. There we go. So the player's gonna go wham. It's a weird idea, but it could totally work. So where's the middle block? Placed it somewhere. Sure of it. Whew. I didn't even put it on. And go back and get it. One thing that we can also do is just get this whole fucking thing. Move it over here so we have quicker access to it. I guess it's called a wall loop. I guess if you want to call it that, you can call it that. Let me see if there's actually any space for it. No, let me not zoom in like this. So now we can do this and vary it up a little bit. All right. Now we can keep going here in a little speed section. Filling things up a little bit. Now over here, what I want to do is that I want to exit out on this kind of slope. And just to vary up the tiling a little bit, to put this one over here. Roof loops? What? I don't know. We're gonna deal with this other route later. Let's first do those two, I think. You might have a little bit of an issue too, so who knows. Should probably start that one with the loop as well. Oh yeah, I forgot the other sensors. So, I need a red sensor on this side. And a blue one over here. This is going to be coming from the bottom, there isn't much need to do. What? Oh yeah, I think Control B returns you back to this screen. I don't like that. But it's a thing. So yeah. There's always this one, so I gotta delete it. Copy and paste it on layer 8, just like before. And have a loop on top of a loop. Right. This song is called The 13th Struggle. Oh man. I'm gonna say the cringiest thing in existence. Got it memorized. Got it? I can feel the shame running through my veins. This ain't loopception. In fact, we can make a loopception. We should do it now. Yeah, let's do it. Alright, so it's a loop that merges into each other. I think should work, I guess. So one thing that we can do is that we can clone this fucking thing and go over here, go in alpha, edit, and then you select this thing. Bam! Delete it. And now I can just duplicate and delete this thing. Now we go out of the edit, blue, and we paint it over. So now we have a thing, a tool for a loopception. Oh, it's a little bit weird. We might as well do a little hackiness. Shading on it is a little bit wrong, so whoops. The upper part was not well placed? What do you mean? I don't get it. Seems fine. So this, put this thing. Now over here, one thing that we can do is that we can have this I think it needs to be red. This is a weird kind of loop, but it's doable. This and this. So, let's see what I can do. I don't want to have the loop exit over there, so just gonna have this. And then I need to do one of those before the red. Clone this. I hope the fucking... No, this ain't gonna work. So, from this, it needs to continue on going down. But there also needs to be a block somewhere, because here's the thing. If I don't put something like something neutral in between, and I switch layers, if things aren't set up correctly, Sonic might like bump off the ground, and that's not gonna be good. So yeah, this thing needs to be lined up as well. So we need to do one of those with the red. Let's go for it. And by the way, once you actually master making loops, you can do some incredibly like exquisite loops. Just make something fun. Be aware of that thing I just said a while back of Sonic bumping off the ground. So we get a red. And we pen over this so we know. And now we add the red over there. So this, put this thing in the middle of it. Let's keep it that way. Something like the sort. Now over here, what we can do is that we need to change this bottom layer into blue. Just making that into a loop. Doesn't really matter what it is really. Yeah, it's all that work for 0.3 seconds. Yeah, that's normal. Get used to it. Animation's a lot like this as well. There's a little problem over there, so I can get this thing moved a little bit. I don't know why I'm even doing this, but whatever. So, now we're technically almost done with a little section. Almost. So what do we need to do exactly? Well, let's put a layer 8 over here. And so the player is actually running above it. And over here, this thing also needs to be a layer 8. So, let's go. Let's see the layering of this thing. Let's see how things are gonna roll. First of all, we need to be on the red layer over here at the start of this. So change this to red. And after going through it, okay, so if we're going back, change back to red. But after going through it, make it blue. So now, once it's halfway down the point, it probably should make it red. Somewhere, like here. Just change it to red, and since we got this thing over here, it's gonna change into red when we're touching that. And make sure that, okay, so when the player touches this thing, it changes layers, so maybe put it a little bit above it. And in fact, I might as well just put this over here as well, just to minimize issues. So, yeah, also over here set to red, and over here we set to blue. So it touches the blue on the beginning. And over here we also set it to red. Or we can set it to blue and do something cool. So let's do something interesting. Just like before, We can do a little loop inversion of sorts. Alright. And over there, put in a red spring. Two, in fact, just so it looks more pleasing. More pleasing to look at. The speed section ain't over just yet. In fact, we can add more to it. We can keep going. I'm gonna keep going to this route because we might actually be able to add some variation to the blue over here over time. Like making the player go over here instead if they touch a specific thing. We'll see what we can do. So let's continue this part over here for now. And one thing that we can do is add another slope. Probably should be a little bit above here in the front. Now we can do this. Just have them go down again. Because you know, at this point we need to make the player go down the stage, so we need to do this. Let me check if I actually check find detection in this thing. This and this. Okay. Use the small block to put it in the middle. Technically, we could have used the bigger block and just ordered it to back. This would do. Use the straight coming down. This is a very mechanical stage, so stuff like straight lines are fine with it. But like in a more like natural looking stage, you might not want to do this, like just straight loops. You might want to vary up your ground undulations and whatnot, because you know, it's like Green Hill, for example. Green Hill has like hills, little bumps all over the place. That's a thing on it. Right, now that it's going down, let's just add another loop in them just for the sake of it, because we can and it's easy. In this case though, I want to do a loop like this. And another one that's not like this. So, what can we do? Delete this thing, at least for now. Might have to make this from scratch then. Okay, so what happens in this kind of loop? Well, this part of the loop is static, it's regular part. And then over here we need a layer change. And then we need also a layer change for the top. And it can be any color really. So over here, and then over here, I grab a new one. So here's how this is gonna roll. First of all, let me add something to it so the player collides with it. Alright. Okay. Okay, so over here, again, just like before, we start by colliding with the red, so we shouldn't collide with the blue, so we put the player on the red layer, and then we put the player on the blue layer once he gets here, and once he gets in the red layer, over here, and maybe a little bit lower, this we do. Well, this editor might not be that great, it's just that I got really used to it. It took a while for me to get good at it too. Like, it took me a long while. Don't forget, I completed 3 games and an official game in this thing. So it's not like I'm like an amateur to it. I'm not great with it, but I can technically be considered a professional in ClickTeam Fusion. Of all things. I mean, I've worked with Photoshop so long that I do feel like considering myself a Photoshop professional, but I don't know, I don't know about considering myself a Fusion professional. So, as I said before, again, making a full commercial game with this software is possible, but you're gonna have several issues down the line. For example, making a pause menu is gonna be the hardest thing in the fucking world, and what the editor is called Fusion. No, the software is called ClickTeam Fusion 2.5. Previously known as Multimedia Fusion. Fusion is the only word that kept between those two, so it's Fusion. So there we go. Now I need to place some shit on layer 8. Go into layer 8 and put this thing right here. Just to vary things up. This right here. So now I got a loop that goes like this, and then another the one that goes like this. Now we can see the level design is heading downwards. And as this route is almost complete, this beat section, we need to do the other ones as well. I might have to go down there, grab a drink, and go to the bathroom soon. I think I can handle it a bit more. Where can you find it? And it's on Steam. It's called ClickTeam Fusion. Don't use the demo though. It's horrible. Only buy it if you feel like making a Sonic game. There's a lot of Sonic engines you can use to make, you know, your own Sonic game in it. Just buy it if you feel like making a Sonic game. If you don't, then you don't have to care. So, what can we do over here? Well, I want the player to be able to break out of this route somehow. How though? Because I'm shuffling. I'm essentially merging both players into both routes. But I need a way to break out of it. And one idea is that I can have the player jump out of this thing and go somewhere else. So let's use this thing. Oops, not in that layer. Put this over here. Because everyone's gonna ask where this song is from. It's from Bayonetta. Bayonetta 1. Bayonetta 1's a fucking fantastic game. Much better than 2, unfortunately. But yeah, such an amazing game. Has so many good songs in it. This one, for example, such a great Afterburner remix. And I never played Afterburner, but you know, I don't know, man. Even the little mini games that you play in Bayonetta 1 are just so much better than it was in 2. My honest opinion. In the section with this music, I believe you're in a bike, and it's hype as fuck. I love it. Alright, so from the top of this place, we're gonna need anything? Probably not. All things considered, if we jump over here, we should be able to go somewhere, at least get something out of it. Guess I've been sick all this time and I didn't even notice. Can't be coughing like this without being sick. I mean, I can, but... So, let's close off this path. Or maybe you can even add an option to shuffle into the higher path, if we can. Path shuffling, trademark. Trademark. Right, so this guy's... what can we do over here? Why do I hear my game soundtracks? Well, because I heard my game soundtracks throughout the whole entirety of the game's development. Kinda makes you sick of it, no matter how good it is. I just put a song from Before the Sequel in here because Before the Sequel was developed like way back. It's technically already way back. Lots of you guys were still like in middle school or something like that when I was doing it. I was in middle school when I was doing it. Oversaturation? Yeah, pretty much. You just listen to the same thing over and over again, you get sick of it. It's fine though, I mean, you have to. Right, so maybe we should put something in this region. for the player to collect or something like that, and then they would be sort of forced to fall down. Or route shuffle. I think you can make the player route shuffle. Right, making it like this. Nice. Let's see if there's any repeating things. Shield monitor on it. I hate shield monitors. I hate shield monitors with a passion. Dude, you have no idea. I just hate having like the thing over on top of Sonic that obscures the sprite that we put a lot of effort into. I really dislike shield monitors. I just really don't like them. We could put them in, but thing is, Classic Sonic EX can't really use them since we got the double jump. It doesn't really have the ability to use them. In several games I do, when I play like something like Sonic Mania, something like that, I do purposefully get rid of my monitor because my shield, because I just don't want it there. I just don't like it. It's not pretty. I should get shuffle option. So essentially the player is gonna go and boom, if the player is skilled enough, maybe he can like somehow jump out of here. Or just find a way to get up there somehow. I don't know how they would do it, but it could be possible. Someone more skilled than me. Maybe go over here, then dash, and quickly after the dash, jump so they reach that platform. And in fact, I can make that a little bit easier by adding this over here. So the wall will stop them and not prevent anything from being stopped by this ceiling over here. So they can dash over here, then jump, and then just go over there. Gotta think about your route shuffling techniques, guys. I need to put them in there. No one asks me where this song that's playing right now is from. It's this, by the way, if anyone's wondering. It's possible to create a character with some Mega Man ability. Dude, it's possible to recreate Mega Man X or any kind of Mega Man inside of this engine. Some dude fucking made Yoshi playable in Sonic 2 exactly how he plays in Yoshi's Island. It's possible to do the same in here. If you're a competent enough coder, you can probably do any character, any 2D game character, including Crash. Crash was made, some guy made a Crash game, which I believe is made in Click Scene Fusion. So someone made Yoshi in Sonic 2. You haven't seen it? You should have seen it. Yeah, but it's dumb that it was leaked because it's like it looked pretty complete to me. Let me add this loop down there as well. I think it's a good idea. But also, yeah, it's possible. The dude shown that it was possible, even if it is incomplete. What am I gonna do with this? Huh? But still, I know for a fact that this is possible in Sonic World, so. Because it's a programming language. You can technically put 8 Mega Men in here. There has been Mega Man games made with Click Scene Fusion, so you can technically just copy and paste the code if you're good enough and know what you're doing. Dude, fucking Spark has a dash and a wall jump and a charge shot. Sometimes it's hard to pay attention to the chat, even though I'm just doing level design. How long have I been here for? An hour, of course. Oh jeez. Oh jeez, Rick. It is going to be a bitch because it's click team, but to be honest, trees from the complaints you gave me about construct, at this point I feel like click team fusion is just better than construct, dude. You should switch. That's all I can do in click team, and they have a pretty good level editor and sprite editor. Keep that in mind. Or maybe just use Unity as best as you can and just learn stuff in it. Learn C# until Teal comes out, which is gonna be C#, so you already have a, you know, you have a leg up in that one. Oh yeah, in this case, by the way I did it over here is that the player is gonna go and just kind of fall over here. So there's already route shuffle and there's a little space for the player. There is a 2D Sonic engine on Unity, yes, and by the way, moving an enemy over here just so that it doesn't fall right on top of them. There is, but it's Sonic Realms, and in my opinion, Sonic Realms is, from what I've seen of it, it's way more complicated than it should have been. So much so that you don't get that many people using it, but surprisingly enough, there's a lot of people using hedge physics, at least from what I've seen on my server, so... It's like, hedge physics was just made using basic Unity stuff that you learn in like a programming class, so it doesn't use anything incredibly complex. It's really just made with basic stuff, and it's amazing you can do that stuff with just basic stuff. Unity is a 2D and 3D engine. It's just not made for pixel art. It's made for like, oh yeah, Fark's running on Unity, but it's made for like floating point objects. Essentially, it's not. Okay, so in Click Team Fusion, when you move an object, I know it's set up like a grid, but if I deactivate the grid and you move an object, they move like pixels. They move like by pixel increments. And if you look down here, you can see the position of my cursor, and it moves like by pixel. In Unity, this would move by floating point, as in a point floating in space. I already explained what a floating point is, so I'm not gonna go back into it. I'll check it out. Oh god, check it out how this is starting out. It's kind of a roller coaster of a level design, but it's kind of how it is. That's what I'm gonna do afterwards. And to close off this area over here. Dude, I already explained what is floating points like 5 times during this whole series of streams. I could just do it again. It's a point floating in space, essentially. It's, in numbers wise, is like 0. Whatever the fuck is 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5. While a pixel is just 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Do all of them do suck ass trees? I don't know, dude. Sometimes you have to overcome your own shortcomings and just deal with it. That's just how it is, man. It's like when you go to a job, someone or somewhere is just gonna be shitty at it and it's gonna make your life hell. You just have to deal with it. Also, yeah, take programming classes. It's a really very useful skill that you're not gonna miss, like not knowing you're going to want to learn programming. It's very good. It's a very good life skill. The sooner you can start learning it, the better. Highly recommend starting with Unity because it's very visual. You can see the things happening, and that's probably going to motivate you to keep going. Right, save. In fact, let's make a backup copy. Save it as not so plus 2, 3. If people still don't know what software this is, Right over here, click Team Fusion Developer 2.5. And by the way, let me just tell you, you don't need the developer version. It's incredibly expensive. You only need it if you're actually going to publish an official game. Just buy the regular one. It's already expensive enough as it is. So don't make the mistake of getting the developer version. Yeah, epic ass level music for making Sonic level. Might just end up making this song the level theme itself, just because. It's fucking like 6-minute long song. Alright, let's add some slopes. What? What the fuck? Wang Xie Hong. Do any girl here have a snapshot so we can exchange pics? Dude. I hope that's trolling, because if you're not, dude, you're in the wrong place to pick up chicks, dude. You wanna pick up chicks in the Sonic fanbase, dude? Man. Be aware with how we, the Sonic fanbase, have a huge overlap with furries. I hope you don't mind that. Alright. Let's fill up the level design again. Oh boy. Sometimes you have to like use your creativity just to know where you're gonna go next and how you're gonna plan it. Because we had a plan before and I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna make this route go way down there. I'm still thinking about it. Oh boy. This music's from Kirby's Dream Land 3, by the way. Someone asked in the chat. Let me add this loop over there. Who doesn't like Kirby music? It's good music. What the fuck? I've seen this guy. I've seen you talking about this retro engine thing. The fuck's a retro engine? Is it that one engine people tried to make in Sonic Retro that never went anywhere? Please tell me it's that, because that would be funny. Oh yeah, I think I know what I'm gonna do. Right, so over here, I can just put this thing down here. No! Put this thing down here. And in the midst of this part, we can have this thing. Aha! I figured it out! And through this thing, we can essentially cross through over here. Somehow. We'll figure it out. Right? So we need to add something. The lines. This right over here, and then over here you can add this and this. And here in layer 8, you can just add this. And essentially over here, what we're gonna do is that we need a platform of sorts that is in layer red. So we're gonna clone layer red, and we're gonna make this into a platform. I mean, it's just a regular platform. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cross the streams. TN. So now what we can do is that we can make sure that the player is on red layer over here. Oh my god, have been placing things on layer 8? Haven't I? Make sure to always keep a copy of your object or else you might fuck yourself over. Keep a copy of it right over there. Don't mess around with it. Okay, so we're gonna change the player to the red layer if he's down here. Right? But if the player goes from the top, we change it to the blue layer. So essentially, if we're coming from the loop, we cross through this platform and just go down. Right? One thing that we can do is also add layer 8 over here, so masks that a little bit better. But we also need to do this for this path down here. So essentially, I did exactly what I planned to do. We're making this path, the upper path, go down below all of them. Somehow. It's a straight downhill, but it could be fun. Since Classic Sonic EX can go like extremely fast, it's gonna be fun to see how fast it can actually go. So this is a lazy tactic I have when the stage is already like further developed. I just grab like huge chunks and just place them like that. I did this in several stages in Spark, but nobody notices it because it's not actually a bad idea. So you're putting those things mostly for detail. It looks cool. Let's save. How many people are actually watching this stream? 27, huh? It's a record for this kind of stream. So you could copy this thing too. I moved this shit from over here to down there, so we know. Oh yeah, this thing stayed here. Right. Don't forget to use the spacebar to make your cursor the hand, and you can just move it around. It's super useful. You can do something similar with Unity too, I believe, so that's something that helps me out a lot. You can actually hold shift in Unity and go into a first person view and just explore your stage like an FPS. That's really good. Alright, so let's make this section work first. Check this. Alright, so let's make this thing over here. Change the player into red. Grab this thing. In this case, we might need something in the way. Oh, there we go. That works, actually. Yeah, keep in mind, you always need to give the player a little bit of space to do his thing. So essentially, like, we need to give a little bit of space over here. Doesn't line up. Well, now it does, so it's okay. Also, again, never forget, make sure to close the gaps like that. It's closed. So now, red, it's over there. Oh no, I'm placing things on layer 6. You can always see the layer by this thing, this number, the 7 right over there, or whatever number it is in yours. So over here, blue, the blue over here as well, blue here. Here. It seems like kind of a mindfuck, but since we're only using 2 specific layer objects, it's not that bad. No, you're not able to port characters from clicking to Game Maker. They're completely different languages. Can't really do that. So I'm not really done with the middle speed section as there wasn't much to it yet. So if we go to the middle, I'm gonna jump over here. But if we go to downwards, it's just only one loop. And I might need like something else just to keep it going a little bit before we end it all. In fact, I remember the signpost, it's right over here. Probably needed to put this thing somewhere else. Fucking, you took the accents away on purpose, didn't you? Alright, so we need to be done with the speed section as soon as we can. So in order to finish it, I'm just gonna use this. Make sure to fill your stuff again. Don't make platforms just floating midair for no reason. It doesn't look very pleasing. Alright, so let me put this over here. So for the most part, I achieved my goal with this thing. I'm not sure if this thing's actually gonna make Sonic run downhill faster. Oh, in any case, let me copy this loop over here, just so we can have a loop. It's pretty close. Yeah, we need to be on layer red. It's called layer 0, but I'll call it red. Alright, so top right. Right. Grab this thing, filling in the gaps. Oh boy. Almost done. Level design is time consuming, as you can see, but it's very rewarding. It's one of the funniest parts of making levels, but it's also one of the most time consuming ones, because you're essentially basically painting a stage. And it is a problem. There's essentially no way to really speed this up. There is some softwares like Tiled or something like that you can use to, you know, to make this a little bit faster, but I'm not really sure if Tiled is that great of an addition to Fusion. You can do without Tiled just fine. I have this red thing in here. Why? Change it to blue. I keep some blue. Sooner or later, we're gonna have to test all this out. But okay, so we did the down route later. See what I did here? Down route goes over here, and then over here, and then goes way down there. Right, but the down route falls down, and then it goes to this, goes back. And then here, and then you have two options, or you can just go down and take this route. the longest speed section actually. It's essentially, it wastes the most time, but if you go through this middle route, you can either go over here, route shuffle your way over there, go over here, and then either go over here or over here. There's two route shuffling options. So over here, the player might be going like super fast, and then it's just gonna hit the top. So I might as well do something about that by deleting this part. Just make sure Sonic doesn't hit the ceiling at like an incredibly fast speed for no reason. And instead I can put something there if you want to. Put this thing over here for aesthetic reasons. For aesthetic reasons. Let's make it a little bit more pleasing. Yeah, there we go. And over here, it can do the same as well. Gonna be done with the speed section, then I'm gonna add some more detail, and then I'm gonna start by making our first little gimmick, our hazard. Oh boy, this is getting tiring. And after that, I think we should have one more speed section, like a small one in this case, and then we can end the level somehow, because I think we're already mostly done with it. Right. Whew. Alright, so we're gonna leave this route for later. Essentially we're just gonna have it end on the void for now. And then I'm gonna continue it later. But now I'm just gonna add some detail. In fact, we had a little like thing to it, like this thing, but we never actually managed to put it anywhere. It's not entirely necessary, but still, at least it's good that we have it. Man, this has been a really active chat. We can put something on top of this loop, but I don't think we should. Since, you know, it's not really... There's not going to be much on top of it, so... Might as well just not put anything. Let's not tease the player this time. It's not because you can that you should. Right. Alright, almost done placing detail. Hope to get this over with soon. Holy shit, this is boring. Super useful though. Imagine me working on all of those stages for all those stages that I've ever done throughout my entire life. Spending all those hours just to make a couple of games for you guys. And then I got people like trees just shedding on them like hell. I mean, it's okay, but, you know, didn't get paid for them. It's just a comment on that. You can do whatever you want with it. Is it possible to import a complete animation? Yeah, technically, if you have all the animations saved on PNG files. When you export something from Blender or Photoshop, you can usually have that. And you can technically just do that. Please unban trees? What? Please ban unlimited trees. Why? Has he done anything wrong? Is he offending you? If so, just deal with it. It's trees. He has a reputation for being like that. He's kind of the D guy you don't take seriously. Just leave him be. Oh sure, I'm not banning people for being assholes though. They can be assholes all they want. Sorry, dude. Trees is autistic. I'm fucking sure Trees is like highly autistic. Like I'm pretty fucking sure. Oh, is this an issue of that? Yo, dude, now you're gonna go ahead and offend me because of something Tree said. Hey, man, I'm not gonna get into your fight. This is no. That wasn't the reason I was banned from SFGHQ, dude. Oh, if Trees was banned because of that, then, well, he shouldn't. That's up to them, really. Sorry, dude. I know. Okay, getting mad at unlimited trees is a very normal thing to do. Let me just tell you that. It's completely normal. There's nothing to be ashamed. Do you guys have any other tutorials from Sonic Worlds? I actually don't think we have many of them. That's why I'm doing this, precisely. Alright, so we exit from speed section. One thing that I might do from over here is just add a little enemy over there, and then I'm gonna move on to making the gimmick. Alright, so what do I want from a gimmick? Okay, so I want a movement gimmick, which is just the regular gimmick, and I want a hazard. And this hazard, I want it to be some kind of projectile launcher. And essentially, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make some kind of like fireball thrower of sorts. It's just gonna like throw a fireball, and I'm gonna make it flashy and interesting. So let's just do that. So first of all, we need some sprites, and you can go in the sprite's resource to grab a couple of them. So let's go into it. Oh boy. Alright. Let's go into it. So we're gonna go into Sonic. I'm gonna look up a Sonic game that has a fireball sprite in it. Also, another little thing, when you make sure you save the sheets you use, and make sure you credit the people that ripped them, just because. Right, so just click on Sonic. I think this is Sonic CD. Yeah, okay, so let's click on the game, Sonic CD, over here. And now let's check if there's an effect pack. Not all of them have it, but items and objects. Let's see if we can grab something from it. In any case, we can just go into Genesis, check out S, look up any Sonic game. There's already the Sonic game over there. You can grab all Sonic and Knuckles, some classic heroes, come on, Sonic 2. Right, so we can look into it. No, we ain't got anything over here in this sheet, so we can actually look into it. Those guys, do any of them have any flames? No, not really, but we have something over here. If you can grab it. Right, so over here we have one from over here from, I believe is, what's the name of it? Lava Reef. How could I forget it? So I'm just gonna save it. And over here we don't really need this anymore, so this is fine. Right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just import the sprites in here, and we're gonna just do that. So we're gonna go into over here, active, and in this case we're gonna make the fireball launcher, and we're going to grab the sheet itself. I think this is the one. Oh Jesus, the transparent color we already have it picked for some reason. It's this one. Let's pick it. But we also need to import selection, click select, and then we can just need to move into this area, get both of them, and then we can click OK. Alright, so we got both of them, and I'm just going to just have both of them, just because in one active we don't really need to. We're going to separate them into both later. So we're just going to have this, and I'm going to make the fireball animation. It's going to flip vertically, and this is our fireball. It just moves up and down. What the fuck? Okay, so we just put this in the center. There we go. That's a simple fireball. And over here, grab this thing, make it like this and this. Alright, so I want actually a fireball that fires upwards. It just fires a fireball upwards and that's it. I think it does have a fireball thrower, but I'm gonna make my own just to show you guys how it's done. Right, so now we can flip it like this. And where is it? Damn it. It's somewhere. Because of the way this sheet works, the hotspot likes all over the place and it's somewhere. I don't know where it is though. Fuck. So let's make only layer 7 visible by selecting the mask. Over here it only selects that one layer. So now I need to look for that thing manually. Hooray! It has to be somewhere. It's inactive, so it's above most sprites. For fuck's sake. If you select this region, you should select something. Oh my god. Fuck it. The reason why it's gone is because the hotspot was in a completely wrong position. So let's just go one by one, really. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm gonna make fireball thrower. And let's flip it. And when you flip it, it automatically crops. Right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this thing, and we're gonna put the hotspot over here. And then we're gonna get the stopped animation, we're gonna copy it, and I'm gonna paste it. Hold on a second. Fucking hell, it's hot today. Alright, so in walking, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it flash. So we're gonna grab the white color, grab this, put it like 40 or 20 or something like that, and then we're gonna make a loop. So basically it's gonna flash like this. So what we're gonna do is that before the fireball is actually fired, there's like a period where this thing is like preparing to fire, and we know when it's going to fire. So this thing, just normally, just leave it there. Let's make it loop as well, because you can have some problems with this thing. Let's make it loop. So just call it fireball up. So over here with the variables, you can call this counter. Or counter. Now we need the fireball. So the fireball is click on this thing, and then let's just grab the fireball. And it's in the sprite sheet. Sprite selection, select this thing. Right, so let's flip it upwards. And now let's make our animation. First of all, the hotspot needs to be set over here. In this case, let's just flip it. There you go. Now we can just delete this. Then have our fireball. In our fireball, we're gonna add a behavior to it, and in this behavior, we can just destroy it. We're gonna give them always. Over here, double click it here. So before this, add 1 to counter, which since it's a clone of that object like that, it has the counter. So over here, go this greater than whatever value, like 120 is 2 seconds, it's 60 times 2. So we can essentially go for like 200, and if it's greater than 200, kill it. Just so there's not like a shit ton. Sometimes there is no animation, it just moves up and down. That's true, like the Goombas in Mario were like that, they're just one sprite that flips back and forth. Right, so now what I need to do is that we need a little effect for when the fireball is launched. So here's what you can do. We can just make this fireball over here. And yeah, I'm using behaviors for like simple stuff like that. Don't really use it all that much, it's not a very good idea. Let's make a little effect for when the fireball is launched. One thing that we can do, I think we can copy this behavior, go over here and paste it. As far as I can tell, it's right. Yeah. So for the active. In this case, let's name this the fireball. This is the fireball. Launch, whatever it's called. This is the fireball effects. In this case, in the behavior, we use like something like 60. Just do this right quickly. So over here, we click on new, and we're gonna use this tool, the circle tool. And first of all, we're just gonna make a white circle, or maybe like a more yellow one. You can pick colors as well. It's a lot better when you do it like that. And then we're gonna make this thing like over here. And then over here, we're gonna color this circle a darker color. We're just gonna keep doing that until we get to random. So this is one cheap way of doing effects. It works, but it could be, you know, seeing is not very good. In essence, if you can find a better effect to use it, or just make your own, it's okay. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. Is that in this one, we're gonna go get this circle, keep it on the middle. We're gonna select the transparent color by holding shift and clicking on the color, and that becomes that. And then you're gonna go somewhere and then draw a circle. You need to get it mostly right. Doesn't need to be perfect, but. And then over here we make it larger. And then over here we make it even larger. And now over here we make it even larger, and this time sort of destroying a lot of the pixels. Now we copy and paste that frame, and then we do it more and more until all the pixels are gone. Now I can just stop it, and now we can have a loop to the last frame. Now if you click on play, there's a little animation there. Let me just put it to 0 and see how the loop looks. Now let's check this out. It's a little custom explosion. This circle tool over here is not very good as the one in Photoshop, so I always make those explosions in Photoshop. But yeah, now I have a little cheap ass explosion. So now we can save. Can I make strings for hedge physics? Maybe? I'll see about that. Probably not in several years though. I need to see people get used to hedge physics first. See what can be done with it. And I myself need to get more used to it by making fart. So yeah. So there we go. Now let's place this fireball launcher. somewhere in the stage, like over here. Now we're gonna program it. Oh, and by the way, before I do that, I think I'm gonna go in it, and then I'm going to this thing. Oh, the proportions are already right because it's an object, so it's 32 by 8. Remember the numbers. It's 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. Those are the numbers you should probably be using for this. So I'm just gonna copy this thing. Make sure to always keep those over here. And you're only gonna be copying this thing throughout the whole entire stage. So in this sense, what we need to be, we need the settings to, we need to collide with this thing. So we're not gonna be using fine detection. And we need to, over here, where is it? Right, over here, in the where the behavior is or events, you need to put in an add and 0, and you're gonna add a 2 as well. The 2 makes sure there is no physics applied to this object, so Sonic doesn't change angle when he hits it. Essentially, that's what they're gonna do with it. So basically, it's gonna like Sonic's not gonna like tilt to the side over here. Like, let me show you. It's not gonna see this as some kind of like weird hill. It's just gonna see it as like a bump. For the most part, this should work. And Sonic's not gonna be like this over here, like flipped to the side, like it happens so often. Yeah, qualifier 0 and 2. Qualifier 0 is solid collision. Or I can just be a better person and fuck off with both of them, because I really don't need to collide with this thing. So let's just save it. Alright, so over here in level objects, we can stage 0 gimmicks. Oh yeah, there's nothing, so we can just, this is stage 01, so we can just call it stage 01 gimmicks. And I always put a group and put the gimmicks that I have for my game, for my stage in that group. So when I want to like copy the gimmicks from one stage to another, I always know like for which stage those gimmicks are from, and it's from this group, for example. And when I make stage 2, I just make a group called stage 2 gimmicks. Right, so here is gonna put in a flame ball. Throw, I don't know, it's like troll. There. Troll. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're going to go over here, this object, and but first, before we do that, we're gonna put in always, and we're gonna go into this object, and we're gonna do a thing I taught you guys yesterday. Go over here, go into count, and for each object, and we're gonna click OK. So now we're gonna call it the FMB, Flame Ball Thrower Loop. Okay, so now we started a loop, which is essentially like an event, basically like always, but for each flame ball launch object in the whole scene. So now we run a loop through all of them, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over here, select this object, and loops, and on each object, and then you're just gonna type it FMB. Don't forget the quotes. So now, for each of this object, we're gonna run a loop that is gonna check a thing. This is exactly like always, but done once for every object of Fireball Launch. So now we're gonna go like this. I think we need to, let's insert this, and let's go over here and go into compare to general values. By doing this, we can go into this object, go into position, and get distance to a point. And in X point, it's already selected for us. We're gonna go over here to position and X coordinate. So X of player, and now we can just copy this over here, and Y of player. So if the distance is lower than whatever, it's in pixel units. So the size of the screen is 427. I got that memorized pretty much. So essentially, if the size of the screen is, it's the size of the screen away from that object, or we can have something lower, like, well, let's keep it 427, right? It needs to be down there. The loop needs to be at the top. And now this event is gonna be done with this loop, as far as I can tell. So And then we're gonna just add to a counter. Add 1 to value A, so essentially add 1 to counter. And now let me add a comment just to space things out. And then we're gonna go, you can just click on any object just like before. Compared to a variable, it's the first one, and it's greater than 50 or like 60. So 60 is like 1 second essentially. So let's make it 50 or 40, 45. Now we're gonna change the animation of the object. Change animation to whatever it is, but we can just drag this over here and it will show up. Now I change it to walking, and then if counter is greater than 70, which is like 1.1 seconds, something like that, we can create the fireball. And go over here, new objects, create objects, click on the fireball, and then create the fireball over here. Whatever it is, let's put it a little bit above it. And you can see the position of here is 0 and -15. Then I created a fireball. Now we need to create the effect as well. So, create objects. We're gonna go into this, the effect, and let's just put it like right on the tip of it. Now we're creating the effect and the fireball. Now we need to add the control itself of the fireball. So fireball control. Can't be called anything, it's just a group name. Let me just change the name. Fireball controller. I don't know how to type this. I'm gonna have to use Google for this one. Help me Google. I'm amazing at typing. Oh my god, there's actually someone with that. That's actually someone's name. So I just need an H on top of it. So thrower, it's actually someone's name. I never knew this. Anyway, so well, don't use Scratch to make a Sonic engine. It's for learning programming. Thrower without the H is someone's name, I believe. So okay, so in fireball control, we're going to go over here and always. And we don't really need to make this loop for the fireball. However, it's a good idea, but we don't exactly have to do it. So we're just gonna add 1 to counter, and we don't really need to do that. No, I mean we do, but the fireball counter is already being added, so we don't really need this. What we need though is compare collision, and what we need to do is that we need to compare collision with the fireball to something else. And here's what we give you: collision with overlapping another object, and this object needs to be player. And if it's overlapping the player, let's set M, that's variable values, set hurt to 1, and we also want to destroy the fireball itself, and we also want to create this effect, but it needs to be created inside of player. So we can find player. Oh, we can't really find it, so we can click on relative to, like over here, and it's going to show this, and then you can just click on the player, and bam, it's going to create relative to that. Or better off, we should probably create it relative to the fireball itself before it is destroyed, and it's set to 1. Right, so if now the fireball is going to go replace, you're going to go on any object, click on any object, collision, overlapping a backdrop, we don't set her to 1, but we just destroy the fireball. And now we need some sound effects. So over here we could go in and sample play, there should be fireball sample. I think there should be a fireball sample. Or not. Oh boy. Oh, fire. Oh. Yeah, I should do it. Those hits. Whatever. It's not a big deal. I would think there's a better sound effect for this. Sound collapse. Oh shit. We can mix and match sound effects. It's not that big of a deal, but still. Oh, this is slap. Good boy. It is loud, by the way. think you can just use one. No. Okay. It's just this one, whatever. Alright, so we can use better sound effects later, but yeah, this is mostly it. But it's not over yet. Like for example over here, we need to set the counter back to 0. So let's place multiple of them, just so we know that everything is working just fine. Just put shit ton everywhere. Sometimes when you copy and paste objects, for example, let me copy and paste this one over here and zoom in. See what happens over there? There's a 1 pixel gap. So if you move this object around, it just snaps into place. So just do that. For example, I copy it and then I move it. There we go. Now let me test this thing out. Let me see if it's working. Oh yeah, it is, but the fireball isn't moving because we didn't make it move. So let's make it move. So we need an always, and we're gonna set the position of the fireball with whatever object, position, x coordinate, position, it's y coordinate, position, y coordinate, position y -2 or something like that. Not too fast, but not too slow. 2 means essentially 120 pixels a second, so it might be a little bit faster with a 5. Oh boy, I died because there's a fireball right over here. So one thing that we can do to fix this is go over here, and it's in the runtime options, the red thing, and just click on create on start. And over here we can do the same for this, so it doesn't create on start. Oh yeah, and by the way, at the beginning the fireball is going to collide with the platform as it's being created, so we need to find a way for that. We can disable find detection for the fireball because essentially it's a little box. And what we need to do is that since the counter is being added to 1, let's go over here and say disable value is greater than like 10. But not for this, for this. And I fucked it up, I forgot to drag this thing over here. So, this should be it. Yeah, I put the HUD because I just dragged the fireball in. Alright, so let's go. Oh yeah, I forgot to reset the animation too. Yeah, it works though. So when the fireball is launched, we need to change its animation back to stopped. And this isn't on a cycle, by the way. This is not an actual cycle that means like all fireballs are fired at once. This thing starts firing if it's close to you. A lot of people like to do these things based on cycles for speedrunners, so basically it's going to use something like the timer variable instead of just a counter, or a global counter that is for all the variables. And you can see fireballs being launched and working, and you can take damage, and it does all of its glory. There you go. Now I can place it on the game. Right, so I wanted to do another gimmick, but I think this is going to be it for today. I'm just going to be placing this hazard around and just telling you how it works. How you should place it and whatnot. So this is going to be hazard placement. Right, so let's just go to any of the routes. Like this one I think should do it. Let's do it in this one first though. So this route, we come out of it through over there, and then probably need something to block the player from over here. And we somehow need to introduce the fireball, but we can be a little bit more risky with this one. We don't have to mollycoddle out of the player all that much over here. We can just straight up just put him in a situation where he's gonna have to see the new gimmick, because this gimmick actually has a little bit of a delay time in it where it takes a little bit to actually launch. So okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a small block. Where are they? I think there's one over here. This. Okay, I'm gonna put it on top of a small block so the player knows that there is something in there. So you know it's a different thing. The thing is different, so it's hard to miss it. But the fireball thing actually like has a little animation that prepares itself. And it shines a little bit. So if the player gets hit by it, well, you can reasonably believe that it was the player's fault, since it has a tail to it. So yeah, pretty much. And just gonna do that. And now I can add some more to it by just keep the level going somehow. Man, I really need to go to the bathroom. I've been here for like 2 hours already. I have to end it soon. But yeah, now I have this, and you can essentially add those things more to the other platforms. So, what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to finish this kind of detail over here. And let's not place it on top of the fireball, so we know that there's a fireball over there. In fact, let's surround it, so we kind of bring relevance to this place over here. So, no, it's not a piss. It's not a piss. I'm gonna be there for a while, let me tell you. Right, so let's run the stage and let's test what we got so far. Speed section like before it works, but for some reason that thing wasn't on top of Sonic, so we kind of just ran on top of it. Need to mindfully place that somewhere. Ooh, wait. Shit works. Alright, so here we have a problem. When you get over here, we can't really see that we have to go up there. So instinctively a player might jump, but you know, they might not know about it. So we need to add some rings or something like that to make the player jump, just so they can get over here. And oh boy, we can get it. Alright, so the spike over there wouldn't really hit the player because, you know, it's not really in our way, but this one is. But since the player is gonna have to stop to fight the enemies, it's a good idea that this thing is here, because it adds a little bit more to it and we're not gonna really have to touch it. So over there, that didn't work all that well. For some reason. Oh boy. That was a failure. Whew. It went super fast. Okay, let's go back into it and see what happened to it. So, when it got over here, you only set it to red later for some reason. You can't do that. It set it to red right over here, and I think that was our main issue. So, that was a bad idea. Let's do it again. Conveyance. Straight up eager after, huh? Let's go through the lower route again. Oh yeah, and by the way, let me put more rings in there. So, I can fix this area. Oh god! Just want to do this. Might be a little bit too much. Of those. I mean, it's not a very elegant ring placement, but it should work. Alright. Yeah, that platform is still over there. Alright, now we can actually see that, and after we get the spring, we should jump. Then we get that over there. Now over here, I should put the rings in the middle. It didn't exactly work, there was an issue there. Oh boy. Sonic Worlds. Hyper fast Sonic Worlds in this case. It sort of lost the collision in the middle of it. I know why. Because of this. You need to put an object in there. So this should be working. Let's go for it. Forgot to fix that thing again. Alright. Hey, bud. Alright, will this work? Yeah! There we go. Now we can see the fireball. And then we saw it flashing a little bit before we did anything. The explosion itself, the effect that shows up is a little bit off-centered. Might have fucked it up a little bit over there. But now let's restart the stage and go through another route. Let's go. Let's see if this moving platform fucks us up now. A little bit still. Should probably move it up a little bit more. Can it fuck ourselves now? Not really. A little bit. Oh yeah, another problem I might mention. For some reason, sometimes in worlds, having other platforms like those middle ones can actually somewhat interfere with your player's movement for some reason. And some weird behavior might happen. I don't know why he did that exactly, but it's probably something related to the moving platform. I don't know why it does that. Alright, let's go to the middle round. Now we can see, as we got there, we got up here, but the spring itself is not powerful enough to send us way over there. In fact, it blocks us somehow. And then we don't get the spikes, so we can see them coming as well, which is good. Or we just ran past them and we can go down here, or we can go down there. Oh boy. In fact, it did just that. That ain't good. Can I actually get it back up there? And I don't think it can. No, I should probably reset. Let's go to the middle one again. That's not the middle route. But I can get to it if I do this. Ah. There we go. Ah, come on. This is the middle route, yeah. Okay. Oh, there's an enemy over there, which is bad. Because if I go in the spring in a certain angle, the enemy's gonna hit me. And there's an enemy that falls from the top as well that I didn't notice. Ooh, so that was a problem in here. Alright, let me check that. What exactly happened here? So in the middle, it failed to transition to red. Which it should. So let me just put a red in here. Let's go for it. No, not like this. Nice. Nice. Advanced techniques for a small little Sonic game. Okay, this is bad. I probably need to change the positioning of that enemy. Alright, God, come on! What did I do wrong this time? Should work. It's on the blue. Oh, I get it. It's because it's right in the middle of red. It can't be like that. So I need to place the red right down here. So it doesn't happen. Man, this is gonna be tricky. In fact, we need a little bit of space in there. That could have been good. Instead, we need to put one of those over here instead, so that doesn't happen. Ooh, this is gonna be tricky. The reason why I was doing that is because it's colliding with this part of red. this thing over here, this loop. That's bad. So we need to do this right over here so it doesn't do that. Hopefully. So let's go for it. I know Life Hacker and Supersonic, it's kind of glitchy. I need to do something about it later. Nice. Goodbye. Oh boy, this placement might not be so good. Spike placement. It is hard to play spikes. Oh yeah, there we go. Now it works. Now we can jump over here and follow this path. There we go. Now I've reached this part of the stage. There's a little flamethrower over there. And for some reason we can't go back, but that's fine. I think we can. No, not really. It's fine though. Alright, let's test it one more time. Getting the upper path this time around. Let's hope it works. Before we take this path. Alright, let me see that. Yay. Alright, let me check if that specific hidden secret works. If you do a double jump, not really, but if you double jump, dash, double jump, there we go. So this platform looks a little bit hidden in the background, so maybe harder to see. So it's not that big of an issue in that case. Get those frames. Over here, as you can see, when I was running fast and this thing just stopped me. And now we can see the spikes and everything. And make a better judgment call. In this case we have this. And we can use this to get the rings. Nice. And there's an enemy right next over there. I probably shouldn't have put it over there. Not a very good idea, but still. Let's go. Let's hope to God this whoop. Nope. Okay, so what happened in there? This loop had some issues. It starts way up there. I need to do this. And then after this, it works just fine. But it changes into 1, and I think this part worked. It's this one that didn't. Right? Oh yeah, I guess it didn't touch this thing. I think. There's always some issues. Oh, you told me? I didn't see it. Probably missed it. Might have placed it a little bit too above everything else. It's been a while since we did this. So have you learned so far? I don't know. You learned what you have learned. I'm not gonna summarize everything and just waste my whole time. This is about you, you know. It's up to you to actually learn the things I'm teaching. Alright. Ooh! It worked almost. I think we need to, yeah, don't do this, because I'm an idiot and a faggot. We probably don't even need to make this thing in the red layer. Probably just need to make this thing in layer 8. Because they're not going to really use it, but it's okay. Wait, it works. Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Sonic. Regular Sonic would not work in this stage, I don't think. Oh boy. Transition characters. This path again. Should have fixed it an enemy placement they had before. Yeah, it's not good to have this enemy over there. I need to change it or delete it outright. Let's go. There we go. Haha, it works. And now as you can see the background ends, so I might have to add some more. Oh boy. I can't do a summary, man. You can check out the video titles. So anyways, this is our level. Check it out, how is it going so far? Since it's already this big, I'm gonna end it soon. There's gonna be a challenge region after here, and probably after that I'm gonna merge the paths into one speed section and just end it. One thing that I also want to do is that I just want to introduce a simple like fan gimmick that just pushes the player forward somehow, or upwards, just so we know. So far, we got an interesting level here. Hopefully it was enough to teach you guys today. And I'm gonna be ending this stream. So if you have any more questions in the chat, I'll be here for like one or 2 minutes. Ask quickly. Hint. But yeah, I've done shit. Oh boy, they're gonna have to wait for the VODs to be up. YouTube takes a while for the VODs to show up, so yeah, you can't just go back in the video. It's not the same thing. Anyways, making bosses. Well, I already have a boss example inside of Simple World, so I'm not gonna do that for now. Anyways, I'm gonna. Should they be done at 128, 120? Well, it needs to be done by at a power of 2 number. I already said all the numbers, or most of them. That was Fusion 2.5. Collecting Fusion 2.5. What about grass in this stuff? Well, if you want to put grass in a stage, the grass is literally just like a backdrop. That's just a like non-collidable backdrop. Can you copy gimmicks from Delta? Yeah. If you know what you're doing, you should be able to do it. All you need to do is copy all the objects that have that gimmick, that are of that gimmick, and then copy the events from the code. So, this is it, guys. I'll see you guys later. Or some other day.